Did you guys know last week I had a good ad-lib intro? It was going to be so funny, at least to me at least. But, this is the ad-lib intro that I'm doing now. And as far as what I want to say, the potatoes is potatoes and tomatoes and tomatoes. We'll work on it as we get better. Welcome to Highland Sports. Hi, my name is Duke Perry, and this is Highland Sports episode 2. Today, I will be discussing the Chiefs' offseason moves, their draft plans, and my top 5 dark horse playoff team entering the 24 NFL season. And we're going into UFL Week 2 and going to highlights into that, as well as we talk about our first anime of the show, The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic. And I give you my Season 1 recap, as well as my personal rating on a scale of 1 to 10. And I'll point out my favorite episode. The news is packed, and I got the lighter. Let's get high. I said, come on down. Hello, this is segment 1 of episode 2 of High on Sports, and I am with my baby brother, Daron Pearson. And Daron, tell her what you do for a living, my friend.
So work, and I play semi-pro basketball for the Roseville Blue Demons, point guard. So trying to get overseas, and yeah, been playing since I was 6. Played high school, middle school. Now I play semi-pro. So that's cool. That's it right now.
Okay. All right, Daron. So today I'll break you here. Like I said, we're going to talk about the Chiefs, which is your favorite team. Am I correct in saying that? And I don't know why you're not a Lions fan, man. Can we get into that real quick?
Lions is cool, but the Chiefs is just better. They ain't got Mahomes. So when you got Mahomes, it's like, you feel me? You know?
Yeah, no, I respect that. So Mahomes pretty much was the one that pretty much made you a permanent Chiefs fan, or were you already was a Chiefs fan below that? We're going to get to the offseason move, but I just want to know.
Mahomes made me just like football overall. Just the play style, scramble, sidearm, deep pass, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. Just the best team to me, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. So we're going to get started with the first big re-signing that the Chiefs have. Chris Jones, obviously, looking at my computer, yeah. Okay.
95, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we're going to start off with the first one, the biggest one, Chris Jones, defensive tackle. They re-signed him to a 5-year, $95 million. I couldn't give you the total right now on top of my head. So what do you think of that signing right now for Chris Jones?
I think that signing is the difference between getting to a Super Bowl and not getting to a Super Bowl. Just as important as Kelce, but just on the other end. That's the only person that's going to get to the quarterback. He the one that's going to make them double him to give other people a chance to get at the quarterback, because without him, everything is single coverage. That's the one person that you need 2 people to double. So it just depends on, I'm glad that they did it, because it depended on what they wanted to do. Could have went to the draft, or we could have re-signed a big guy.
Okay, so you're saying is Chris Jones, like, besides Patrick Mahomes, would you say he's kind of like the most important piece to the Chiefs?
That's a good question. Is he the most important?
Besides Patrick Mahomes.
Is he the most important? That's a very good question. I will say he's third. I'm going to say Travis Kelce is second. I'm going to say Kelce second.
Okay. All right, now we got the next major re-signing, Drew Quantrill, linebacker. He played pretty admirably for y'all. I like the signing. There's nothing wrong with that. It's you can tell the Chiefs are kind of going for like more of a reload, but more of a, I guess you could say, kind of a not reload, but kind of like a restock. Like a restock. Like more of like we got the younger guys trying to come into and stuff like that. That's why they let Snead go. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. And like I said, Drew Quantrill is like, he's an underrated linebacker. I love the way he plays the game. And you want to give your thoughts about that?
I feel like, honestly, I mean, we just got him in the draft. I think it was 3 years ago now. So he's still young. He fit with the core. So it just like make more sense to resign him than to go into the draft and just sign somebody at linebacker that you just got 3 years ago. That you can get for a good price that won't hurt the salary cap, and you can keep building around that defense and not just like I said, the main thing that we just touched on was Chris Jones. Get him. Now you can just build around Chris Jones with other pieces that won't hurt the salary cap.
We're gonna talk about one more offseason move that the Chiefs made, and then we're gonna head into the draft. We got Marquise Brown here, the speedy wide receiver for Arizona Cardinals. So obviously, we know what Patrick Mahomes can do with speed. Do you think Marquise Brown is going to have a breakout type of performance, or would it just be like still kind of like wide receiver for our committee? Obviously, Rashee Rice is going through a situation right now, so we're not going to comment on him. But what do you think about Marquise Brown and what he can bring to the table this season? Hey, quiet on set, man. Now, back to Marquise Brown, as I was stating before I got rudely interrupted. Again, what do you think he can bring to the table to the Chiefs this season?
I would so to answer your first question about a breakout year. I can't say a breakout year, but I will say he'll play better. Coming from Kyler Murray to Patrick Mahomes is a big difference. Patrick Mahomes is somebody that can get you the ball in tight spaces, somebody that can throw you the ball open instead of you having to figure out how to get open to get the ball. Playing alongside Kelsey, gonna get you more open possessions. Andy Reid, the way he can draw up schemes, get you open, different things that he can do just to exploit the defense to find the best opportunity for you to receive the ball. So I can't say a breakout season, but he definitely gonna be a key piece to them three-peating in the season.
Okay. Moving on, we're going to talk about draft, specifically round 1. Now, I know you seen Adonis Mitchell, 4.21 speed. A lot of people think the Chiefs going to get him, and that's going to be a scary sight if that comes to fruition. But who do you believe the Chiefs to draft in round 1?
I would say they should draft Adonis because we seen how that was with Tyreek, and we lost Tyreek, and we still won 2 chips without Tyreek. So can it hurt us or can it help us? I don't think it can hurt us. It can actually help us. Whether he come in as a rookie and dominates, or it takes 1 to 2 years, but that's somebody that they can develop. And once Kelsey time starts to dim down, that's somebody. If Rashee Rice can ultimately come back and stay on the right track, that can play alongside Rice, 1-2 punch. That's a 1-2 punch that Mahomes can use in the near future to keep building and keep stacking the chips up.
So you believe it's Adonis? You wouldn't draft a corner, maybe a DN? You think offense is the way to go? I'm just asking.
I think offense is the way to go. Like I said, we got Chris Jones, so just building key pieces around Jones.
Okay, I respect that. As for me, I will definitely love them to draft Adonis Mitchell, but I just feel like he's gonna be taking literally maybe like 4 or 5 picks ahead. So what I would do, if I were the Chiefs, I would possibly. I know they believe in their young corners, but me, I would literally probably address. I want to get one of these top corners in the draft because it's a deep corner class, and I think one that's projected to go in the later rounds is, and I could be wrong. Please go in the comments if I'm wrong about this, but Alabama cornerback. I can't think of his name right now, but Alabama cornerback, and they're gonna kill me in the comments for that. But Alabama cornerback, and that's why I believe I think they should draft because I think they're gonna miss Snead a lot more. And speaking of Snead, we're gonna go into that topic. What do you think about that Snead trade? Ladarius Snead for the Chiefs, excuse me. Now a Tennessee Titan.
They kind of just like similar to Tyreek. They knew they couldn't pay him, So they wanted to do right by him by trading him. But for a third rounder, you could have got more for that. You could have got more. But I feel like ultimately I would have paid him because that's somebody who, like you seen in the Ravens versus Chiefs game, AFC Championship game, that the hitting the ball out was the biggest play of the season. If that ball goes in, could be talking about something different. The Chiefs might not make it. So that just making plays like that on the defensive end that's ultimately what makes the difference. Him and Chris Jones are the two key guys that I wanted them to both resign, but he's a Titan, so maybe we can address that in the draft. Maybe we will draft a receiver. It just depends on how the draft board, falls. So we'll see.
Okay. Last weekend was week 2 action in UFL. We had 3 solid games and a game where my Stallions dominated the Panthers. Again, going from worst to best. We start with the Stallions versus the Panthers. Birmingham took a 17-10 lead to halftime and never looked back. Their defense was stifling, just barely allowing 200 yards with an average of 3.7 yards per play. The Stallions' rush attack was a key factor in the win, totaling 164 yards and averaging 5 yards per run. Adrian Martinez led the way with 65 yards on 8 attempts. He was also the better passer between him and Matt Corral. This dual QB system is working at least through 2 weeks. Former NFL first-round pick Taco Charlton has a big game, leading charge with 3 sacks, and the last one sealed the victory for the Stallions. Next up are the Roughnecks versus the Defenders. Maybe it's the Beer Snake, which keep getting longer every week, but the Defenders are undefeated at home, even if you count the first XFL season, which was cut short due to COVID. They have never lost in DC, something a politician wish was possible. Jordan Tayamu was inconsistent, but excellent when he needed to be. And his first pass of the game was taken back 98 yards to the house by Corn Elder. And in the second quarter, he throws a dot to Bradley Moore, who catches it with a one-handed tip to himself. Jay Garantano got injured in the same frame, but he was not playing well prior to the injury. The offense was only able to get field goals in the first half. But in comes Reed Sinnett, who throws a touchdown to Keith Chisholm. He went for 19 for 30 for 221 yards and 1 TD, giving Houston an 18-12 lead going into the fourth. Tayamu leads an 11-point swing to turn around the scorecard 18-23. Sinnett had a chance for a game winner, but no cigar for him. DC defends the Audi Field and become 10-0 at home, establishes the last SFL season. Garantano will be out for a month with a back injury, but Sinnett continues to play well. He won't get a chance to be a starter again this season. The Battlehawks were on the wrong end of a game-winning field goal in week 1, and in front of a spring football record-setting 40,000-plus crowd, St. Louis wanted to right the wrongs of last week. The Renegades also wanted to put themselves in the win column after lose to my Stallions. No action in the first quarter, so we start in the second. And AJ McCarry finds Marcel Aitman for a touchdown score. Aitman, who I believe is the best wide receiver in the SFL right now, finished the day with 4 catches, 114 yards, and 2 touchdowns, leading the UFL with 3 so far this season. Luis Perez also brought his A game. He finished 21 for 29 for 223 yards and a touchdown. The dividing factor between these teams was the run game. Battlehawks halfback Marcus Durant ran for over 100 yards on 14 carries. He didn't even play last week, and he is now 3rd in rushing yards in the UFL. In a game where both offenses were humming, usually the team who has the ball last comes out on top. And that was the case here, as McCann drove the Battlehawks to the red zone, and Andre Schmitz kicks in the game-winning field goal to even their record at 1-1. And finally, we have the best game of week 2, but it could have easily been worse. The Brahmas versus the Showboats. Before I dive into this, let's give major credit to the Brahmas defense, who kept their offense in this game behind the using the bend but don't break method, and held in the Showboats to 4 field goals after giving up that lone touchdown in the first quarter. Down 16 headed into the fourth, Chase Garbage, this week's underdog dog, finds Marquez Stevenson to make it 18-16. Another field goal by Showboats kicker Matt Coughlin to increase the lead by 3. Now, I thought this game was over after Garbage threw an interception with under 5 minutes to go in the fourth. But it was a quick 3-and-out by the Showboats, and Garbage retaliated, finding John J. Kirkland to make it 14-19. With about 40 seconds left in regulation, now, in the UFL only, because onside kicks are so boring and sometimes predictable, in the fourth quarter only, a team can opt in to go for a 4th-and-tail play to give the ball back to the offense. The Brahmas are the only team to do so far this season and succeeded in converting as well. Garbage, channeling his best Tom Brady impression, drives them to the red zone. And with the ball on the 10-yard line, here is the call from Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium.
Do not have a challenge. Garbers, end zone, and it's...
Garbage finishes the game 29 for 40 for 289 yards and 3 tubbies. Our first anime on Horse, and it's the summary of Season 1 of The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic, based off the Japanese light novel and manga with the same name. I will break the season into 3 parts: Episode 1 through 5, Adjustment Period; Episode 6 through 9, Battle Prep; Episodes 10 through 13, Battle/Aftermath. During the recap, I will take you through a mini dive of my favorite episode of the series, and finally, my personal rating of the show, which is scaled from 1 to 10. Episode 1 through 5, The Adjustment Period. We begin like most reincarnate or summoned into another world animes. The main character not feeling this place called Earth and their place in it. Ken Usato, the main character, and his friends Kazuki Ryusen and Suzane Unakami are summoned into the Linger Kingdom to help defeat the Demon Lord's army. Upon arriving, Usato learns that he was summoned by accident, and his friends are the chosen heroes. Though this news is disheartening, Usato finds out he has an aptitude for healing magic. This catches the attention of Rose, captain of the rescue team. She immediately takes him to be under her wing. This leads Usato to undergo her vigorous training, one of which was to survive in the wild, literally just throwing him in the middle of the forest. Kazuki and Suzune are also training during this time, but less violence is involved. Usato, accompanies Unakami on her training session in the same forest. But the highlight of this episode is when Unakami asks Usato how does he feel about going back to Earth. She tells him about her old life and how she wanted to leave it behind. And now she has the opportunity to do so. This episode caps off by Usato stating that he wants to protect the Linger Kingdom and his friends. And now the two friends have a new smile resolve. Episode 6 through 9, Battle Prep. Rose and Commander Sealis, who trains Kazuki and Unakami, learns the Demon Lord's army is invading and war is imminent. Kazuki has a heart-to-heart with Usato, telling him that he is scared of war. Usato reassures him that he will be still with his friend regardless of what decision he makes. Unakami realizes how much a fool he was and decides to fight to protect the people he cares about. Episode 8 is my favorite of the season. It begins with Usato and Rose conversing about how far Usato has come in his training. Then it takes us back to the past, when the demons first invaded. We are introduced to Raul and the rest of Rose's old troops. Rose decides to accompany her old troops with the mission to investigate their enemy troop forces. She was a battalion commander back then. The highlight of this episode is when Ayul and Rose have a heart-to-heart. Ayul expresses her doubts of being chosen to command. Rose reassures her by her confidence by stating she chose her because of her stubbornness. To keep it short, after this moment, the team notices demons trapping wolves and proceeds to engage in combat. Rose loses her eye. Ayul and the rest of the troops lose their lives in battle. And episode 9 showed Rose dealing with and conquering that grief. Episode 10 through 13, Battle/Aftermath. We arrive back in the present where our heroes are in the midst of war. Being part of the rescue team, they must not engage in combat unless necessary. His main priority is saving and healing as many soldiers as he can. Things are going well until the Black Knight appears. Now, the Linger Kingdom finds itself on the losing side of this battle. The Black Knight sets his sights on Kazuki and Suzune as they battle, but they are clearly outmatched. Usato knows they will die if he does not intervene. Just as soon as the Black Knight was about to finish the kill, Usato shows up with a dynamic entry-style punch. entry style punch. They battle. Ttwtuh realizes healing magic counters her dark magic and puts her down with the ultimate healing punch. We learn her name is Film, and after being captured and put in prison, the king decides to reform her by training her under Captain Rose. Ttwtuh learns that he must repay his debt to the Beast King child, Amiko. This was the child who showed him the possible future of his friends dying by the Black Knight. Amiko wants him to heal her mother, who is ill, and she left her territory because only humans can be born with healing magic. But Ttwtuh were recently ordered to gather allies from other nations. They discussed and realized it would be possible to make a stop between travels, and this would be the plot of Season 2, with Beastskin being the last territory they would visit. My personal rating for Season 1 is 8 out of 10. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Comment an anime you would like me to recap, nothing more than 2 seasons long, or your top 5 favorite Dark Horse playoff teams. I'm Daron Perry, and this smoke session is over.